Family that left me on the streets at 16. Now 30 years later want to apologize and make up for lost time. I lost my mom to breast cancer when I was 12. It was just my dad and me after that. It was a tough time, but we got through it together. When I was 14, Dad met and married my stepmom Ashley, who brought along my stepbrother Mark, 14, and stepsister Emily, 12. I got along well with Ashley and Emily, but Mark and I were always arguing and fighting. Dad always told me to give Mark a break because he'd been the man of his house for a while, as if it wasn't all new to me too. At 15, I met a girl at school, Lisa, and we started dating. However, Mark apparently had a crush on her and was mad that I asked her out. He started a fight over it, which my dad had to break up. Somehow, I was made out to be the bad guy again. Shortly after my 16th birthday, my stepmom was putting away my laundry and suddenly started yelling. It was awkward because my girlfriend Lisa was there. We all ran in, thinking the worst. When we got to my room, my stepmom was holding several pairs of my sister's underwear, yelling at me, asking why they were in my drawer. I had no answer as I'd never seen them before. Of course, no one believed me, no matter how much I protested. Then Mark chimed in, saying he always caught me staring at his sister, thought it was creepy, and once caught me saying, I wish I could marry her. Obviously lying, but that was all it took. Lisa slapped me, called me a perv, and told me we were done before walking out. My dad grabbed me by the arm and threw me out of the house. He yelled that he wasn't going to put his daughter at risk from a perv. I banged on the door to be let in, crying and telling them it was all lies told by Mark. My dad had apparently had enough. I heard the locks turn, he opened the door, shoved me to the ground, and told me to get lost. I told him I had nowhere to go, and he said that wasn't his problem, then closed the door. I found myself on the streets with nothing to my name, no place to go. I tried calling my dad's parents, but he had already called them, and they told me they wouldn't help a perv. My mom's parents had passed away before I was born. I lived on the streets for 2 years, doing what I had to in order to survive. No kid should have had to do what I had to do just to live. There were some really dark days. Lots of therapy later in life helped me with this. Shortly after I turned 18, I found a job working at a boxing gym, states away from where I began this horrible journey. I worked there for years. I learned the sport. I was never going to beat Mike Tyson, but I was good at it, which helped me with my hate and anger. Then one day, I met a new girl, Amy, 20, at the cafe down the street from the gym. At this point, I was 35. I know, huge age gap, but we just clicked. I don't believe in fate or soulmates or any of that stuff, but if there is such a thing, we had it. Don't know how else to put it. We dated for 2 years and then got married. Her dad was an electrician and hired me on afterwards. I think mostly to know I would be able to support his daughter and to keep an eye on me. He never said this, but as a dad, I get it now. Well, 15 years later, we're still together with 4 beautiful daughters. I just passed my master's license as an electrician. Thanks to my wife for pushing me to get my GED. She has been my rock, my cheerleader, my overall support through this all, and I can't tell her enough how much she changed my life and how much I love her. Anyway, just this last weekend, I received an email from my stepsister. Not sure how she got my email address, but I know it isn't hard via the internet, not like I've been hiding. Mind you, I'm now pushing 53, so it's been 30 plus years since I've heard from any of them. It was a long email. The gist of it is, they now know what really happened. Mark, I guess, was busy drinking with his buddies on Friday and somehow my name was mentioned. Mark started bragging about how he set me up and took my girl. Yep, Mark and Lisa got together and married, all those years ago. They were all laughing, hoping I died on the streets, a bunch of rude and vile stuff. Guess he forgot Lisa was there, and she heard it all. So she called my stepsister to let her know, and Emily spent all weekend trying to find me. Like I said, the email was long. The short of it is, they want to apologize face to face, although it was already said in the email multiple times, and want to make up for lost time. I'm indifferent to the idea. I have no ill feelings towards Emily. She obviously was young and had no real say in the matter. But with lots of therapy, I learned to let go of that hate and anger and to let go of them. With all the love I receive from my wife, kids, and in-laws, it's all I really need. I'm of the idea of just deleting the email and moving on like nothing happened. My wife thinks I should at least respond, even if to say something snarky like, "Thanks for finally believing me, only took over 30 years. There's a boxing quote that I have up in my house that reminds me every day. To see a man beaten not by a better opponent, but by himself is a tragedy. I didn't know how to react to this email. Part of me wanted to just delete it and forget about everything, like a bad dream. Another part felt the long-forgotten pain and anger rising from the depths of my soul. I showed the email to Amy. She read it carefully, her face changing from anger to compassion and back again. When she finished reading, she hugged me tightly. "What do you want to do?" she asked softly. I sighed. "Honestly, I don't know. Part of me wants to just forget about all of this. I have you, our girls, our life. Why stir up the past?" Amy nodded. "I'll understand if you decide not to respond, but maybe this is a chance to get some closure. Maybe it will help you finally let go of the past completely." I thought long and hard about her words. Years of therapy had helped me deal with many of the traumas from my past, but had I really let go of everything? Was there still, deep inside me, a hurt child who wanted to finally be heard? After much deliberation, I decided to reply to Emily's email. I wasn't ready for a face-to-face meeting, but I felt I needed to say something. With Aim's help, I composed a response. "Emily, thank you for your email. I won't lie. Reading it was difficult. It took me back to the darkest days of my life, days I've tried to leave in the past. I'm glad the truth has finally come out. But this truth has come too late to change anything. You ask about the possibility of making up for lost time, but that time isn't just lost. It was stolen. Stolen from me, from all of us. I spent 2 years on the streets, fighting to survive. I went through things I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, and all this time you all lived your lives believing a lie that destroyed mine. I don't blame you personally, Emily. You were a child, as was I, but our parents, the people who were supposed to protect us and believe in us, failed us both. Now, I have my own family, a loving wife and 4 beautiful daughters. I have a job I'm proud of and a life I built myself. I'm no longer that scared, lonely kid who was thrown out onto the street. I'm not looking for revenge or retribution. The years have taught me that hatred and anger only poison the one who carries them. I forgave you all long ago, not for you, but for myself. But I'm also not looking for a reunion. Too much water has flowed under the bridge. Too much time has passed. We've all become different people. I appreciate your desire to apologize, and I accept those apologies. But that's where it ends. I don't want personal meetings or further contact. My life now is my new family, and I want to focus on them. I wish you all the best and hope you can learn lessons from what happened. Remember that words have power, and trust is a fragile thing. Cherish it and don't throw it away lightly. After sending this email, I felt a strange relief, as if a heavy burden I'd been carrying for years had finally fallen from my shoulders. I didn't know if I would get a reply or if I even wanted one, but I knew I had done what was right for me. That evening, Amy and I sat in the backyard, watching our daughters play. I hugged her and whispered, "Thank you for everything." She smiled and kissed me. "We're in this together, remember? In sickness and in health, in wealth and poverty, in past and future." And at that moment I realized that I was finally truly free. Free from the burden of the past, free to live a full life with the people I love and who love me. On the wall in my home office hangs a frame with a quote that reminds me of my life's journey. To see a man beaten not by a better opponent, but by himself. That's the real tragedy. But I'm no longer that defeated man. I've conquered my inner demons, my anger, and my pain. And in this victory, I've found true freedom and happiness.